And we're underway for the match between Illawarra and the Central Coast. And we see the Central Coast with the football outside their own 10-metre line. And getting to his feet there was Jake Fitzpatrick. So the winner goes through to the grand final to take on Canberra, as Newcastle failed to go into the grand final of 2015, going down by 1 point here on semi-finals day 2015. This is Corrigan losing the ball here for the Central Coast on his own 30-metre line. So Illawarra, what a match this is going to be shaping up as well. This is Tier 1, and we've had a phenomenal day of telecasting out here at Kirkham Park in Canberra. We've seen some great contests, and this one will live up to the same expectation, I am sure of that. The first match of the day, we noticed the Tigers going all the way by 30 points to 20. Riverina too good for the Stars by 34 to 20. And Canberra 21 over Newcastle 20. So this is Bar TV in association with the Country Rugby League and AAMI. Big hello to everybody taking our telecast throughout Wollongong. I know the match is being telecasted in a lot of pubs and clubs down there. Back away now to Brabner, chiming in. This time it's Smith. He's close to the goal line, isn't he? He's only 2 metres away from the Central Coast line. Here comes Illawarra. Back through the middle of the park. It comes away to Boyle. He finds Thompson. Last tackle now for Illawarra. What will they do this time? Back it comes to Johnson. He finds Boyle. He's going to kick it to the in-goal area. Luckily, LeBrock is back there for Central Coast. He comes away with it. We're going to have a goal line dropout. More pressure coming up this time for the Central Coast.
Coast under plenty of pressure early. The Centurions have got their hands full with an Illawarra side. I was just talking to one of the locals here who says the Premiers or the top team in the Illawarra competition in Wests only with 2 players in the Illawarra side. An interesting sidelight, but they've certainly come out blazing, the Illawarra boys, as they get the restart now just inside Central Coast territory.
Don't forget, they're without their normal halfback here today in Daniel Holdsworth. He was injured at training, so Blake Wallace has gone into jersey number 7 for this fixture. So Illawarra on the attack. They're 2 metres out from the goal line. Back to Batiki, and he scores the first try for Illawarra. They lead by 4 points to 0. Well, Penny Batiki, say no more than him. He plays for the Western Suburbs club down in this part of the world and knows his way to the try line. Picked up a few tries in the Illawarra competition as well throughout the last 8 weeks or so. And he has scored the first try for them, the Illawarra Coal Rugby League side, up by 4 points to 0 over Jamie Forbes' Central Coast. Good start for Illawarra as we had a look on the replay. We'll have another look at the replay here.
And it was a great run here from the front rower in Hancock, who set it up nicely, but Batiki did it all himself. A good short ball there from Joel Johnson, finding his half in Blake Wallace, who then found Batiki, who did it all himself, and they were never going to stop Big Penny from there, and the penny dropped for the Illawarra side. They're in front 4-0.
So now the chance for Mitchell Porter, also from Wests. 15 to the right-hand side of the post. It looks good. It's a conversion.
That's milk money for good quality kickers like him.
So what a start for Illawarra. 4 minutes gone. It's 6 points to 0 on the CRL scoreboard. As the afternoon sun setting here on Kirkham Park here in Camden. Beautiful afternoon for rugby league. A temperature up around 17, 18 degrees. So player comfort spot on the metre gauge as the ball goes downfield. And the Illawarra side on the bring back from their own goal line. And this is McCallum. Getting off him there was Chatfield from the entrance. Batiki, the try scorer with the football over there on the eastern side of the field, outside his own 20-metre line. Now they continue to bash and barge their way through the middle, through their lock forward in Thompson. He's from the Collegians.
He's lost it.
He has lost it, so they're inviting the Central Coast into the right end of the field to attack. That's for sure. And, of course, the Central Coast will just go through previous weeks. In round one, on the 23rd of May, up in Foster, the Central Coast were able to overcome the Great Southern Stars by 40 points to 16. Well, this is the first hit out for the Illawarra side, pretty much in the identical spot to Newcastle, who has gone down by 1 point to Canberra in Game 3 of the semi-finals.
Will that match-hardened experience help Central Coast in the second half of this match? We'll find out as the Coast make a run through Aiden Wright from Terrigal.
From Terrigal. This is Deeves. He's from Terrigal as well. A metre away from the Illawarra goal line. Leading by 6 points to nil here on the CRL scoreboard. Back to Fitzpatrick. Ball's out the back. The winger's got to go away. That's LeBrock. Picked up a try for the Central Coast up at Foster.
He had a very good year last year for the entrance in the Ron Massey Cup Grand Final.
Now Fitzpatrick goes high. Illawarra diffuse the situation out there.
No contest from the Centurions' backs there. They should have at least put a little bit of pressure on the winger there in Turoa, but absolutely nothing doing.
Uella now, outside his own 30-metre line. Chris Bannerman kindly giving us the pronunciation tips throughout the week of a few of these Illawarra players, and aren't there
got a couple of good ones there.
There's a few tongue twisters, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a couple of nice ones there for Illawarra, but they've come out of the blocks nicely this afternoon, Illawarra. I think Central Coast just working their way into it, trying to find the rhythm and the tempo of the match, but Illawarra certainly giving it to them nice and early.
So the kick will go into touch 5 metres out from the Central Coast line.
And this just shows the experience and the quality of the Illawarra Rugby League as they find touch 10 out from the Centurions line, just knowing when to find the touch line and take the pace out of the game and slow the tempo down a bit, finding the right kick at the right time. And Central Coast, plenty of experience in that side. Grant Nelson, I mentioned Perry LeBrock earlier, played in the Ron Massey Cup Grand Final last year for the Entrance Tigers, who got over Mounties in the end. We have a strip here for Illawarra.
Yeah, ball finding itself in the hands of Jared Thompson. He's the captain of the Illawarra side. Back to Boyle. He finds Chris Lewis. This is Joel Johnson at hooker today. Giving it back there now to Matthew Hancock. Plays for Dapto. A metre out from the line, leading by 6 points to nil. They're going to kick for their winger. They're flying through and then scoring again. It's Turoa.
No.
Close, but not enough. We might have a look at the replay when we can. We've got the sun setting in the west on our TV monitor here, and just to give you an idea of where we're telecasting from here at beautiful Kirkham Park, we're right on the touchline. We're looking at the monitor, looking at the television, calling this match as we have for the last 8 hours, and it's a good spot to broadcast in. We've got the beautiful tent above us, and we're just getting the setting sun on our monitor as we speak. But the Central Coast are brought down on the halfway line. They're going to bang it in between the fullback and the winger. The ball's going to go into the in-goal area. Bremner's at the back. It was a good kick. The Helensburgh tyre man, he's got support, and Mitchell Porter is on his back there, about 5 metres out from his own goal line. Now the referee here,
I think he just wasn't quite happy with the mark.
Wasn't quite happy, yeah. Just telling them to go again.
Yep.
Back out to their 15-metre line as we go into the ruck of the play, I guess you'd call it. This is Nathan Smith from Corrimal. Backer comes now through the middle towards the 30-metre line. Getting off him there was Troy Adams in 13. Away it comes again to Johnson. Thruel plays out of there. Of course, Thruel and Helensburgh went around in the Illawarra Cole Rugby League Grand Final last year, and we were able to telecast that match. This is Grant Nelson from the entrance. He's the fullback for them today. One of his teammates from the entrance is with the ball now. This is LeBrock. This is Jordan Deeves from Terrigal as well. So 6 points to nil here. We're coming out of Kirkham Park here in Camden. Back to Burrell. Plenty of yellow boots on display for the Central Coast. We've got a man up in the Newcastle Rugby League that loves the yellow boots, a man called Chris Malborough. Maybe he's selling his boots to half of the Central Coast squads. I think so.
I tell you, it beats the old days when we were going around and they all wore the black boots. These days, every colour under the sun as Illawarra wins a penalty deep in their own end. But you very rarely find even the referees in black boots anymore.
So the boot and the ball goes off it and finds the touchline. A great kick there from Illawarra.
It's a very good kick, 35 metres out.
And don't
from
forget
the Illawarra from the Central Coast line.
We've got the big Cashback app final tomorrow between Helensburgh and the Rule. Replay of the 2014 Illawarra Cole Rugby League Grand Final. Will those teams make their way to this year's Grand Final in September? That match will be live, of course, on the stream.
Nice ball.
Backer comes to Brebner. This is Nathan Smith. 12 minutes gone here, Mike, and they're 12 metres away from the Central Coast goal line yet again. Well, they're certainly getting a defensive workout, aren't they? And they're allowing them to throw the pass around like we're seeing here. But Jared Boyle, speaking of the Helensburgh Tigers, that's where he comes from, has just put it down.
And Illawarra really dominating the first 13 minutes here against Central Coast. I don't know what the possession and the territory stats are, but it would be heavily in favour of the Scarlet and Whites of Illawarra. The Centurions would have maybe had 2 or 3 sets in the Illawarra half, and I would suggest only a handful of tackles inside the Illawarra quarter. Illawarra have had plenty of time inside the Central Coast half and the quarter, as well as we see a blood bin here for Central Coast.
So Illawarra, the current title holders of the Country Rugby League Championships. And who could forget last year, a magical flick pass from centre Nathan Smith, 8 minutes out from full time, sealed Illawarra's second straight country championship title. They were able to edge out Newcastle by 22 points to 20 in an absolute thriller out at Tamworth. Well, they won't be taking on Newcastle in 2015. They'll be taking on the Canberra squad, who have been able to come away with a 1-point victory against the Newcastle Rebels here in our earlier match this afternoon, as the Central Coast now on their own 40-metre line. This is Chatfield. Another one from the entrance Tigers.
And Chatfield, originally an ex-Eden Tiger in Group 16, before making his way up to the Central Coast. Now, who did that come off?
Well, that was a touch and go. I wouldn't like to be putting it on black or red there.
I just want to know which touch that came off. He's ruled off the Centurions and Illawarra feed, but yeah, I'd have doubled my money and folded it up and put it back in my pocket there. Too hard to call.
So Jamie Forbes in charge of the Central Coast.
And he's had a long career up on the coast as well, Jamie Forbes. A number of years. I think he's been with the entrance for a long time, and they've been involved in several New South Wales Rugby League competitions over the years. And Jamie Forbes, a highly recognised coach. A sloppy ball there from Illawarra.
Quite right. I mean, they've been around in the local comp, and then they progressed through to, I think it was the Jim Beam Cup about 10 years ago. Then they found themselves at the Olympic Stadium, I think it was, in 2003 or 2004 in that Jim Beam Cup Grand Final. And then they went, of course, into the Bundaberg Cup, which was the competition after the Jim Beam Cup, and then...
Yeah, which is now the New South Wales Cup and the Ron Massey Cup, which is the game I was talking about last year. The entrants made the Ron Massey Cup final, which is the level below New South Wales Cup, and I called that grand final between the entrants and Mounties. That one to Golden Point extra time, and I think it was Alan Mulia Malau who scored in the corner in extra time to give the Tigers, I think it was a 4-point win over Mounties, but an enthralling game of rugby league at the football stadium last September. And I'm sure they'll be hoping to... Actually, I don't think they're playing in the Ron Massey Cup this year. I think they've gone back to the local first grade competition.
But they've got a huge pedigree of talented footballers up on the Central Coast, and that is going to be on display here this afternoon. Trailing by 6 at the moment. This is Aidan Wright.
They don't really look out of it, the Centurions. If they can get some decent possession and territory as they kick here on the last tackle, if they can get some decent territory and possession, it's obvious it's only a 6-point lead, but Illawarra have not been far and away better than Central Coast. If they can get an even share of the ball, they are more than capable of not so much causing an upset, but getting the victory this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I've called a lot of New South Wales Cup over the last, 10 years, including the Jim Beam Cup and the Bundaberg Cup, and we know, and I know personally that, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into getting these guys primed and primed, I guess, for country rugby league representation, and just winding the clock back to when we called that 2003 grand final. I think we were calling the Tigers against Wentworthville Magpies. That was that was the first Jim Beam Cup grand final at the Olympic Stadium back in 2003, and can't quite remember if they went on to win the grand final that year, but they've played in a few more since then, and credit to everyone on the Central Coast, because they're not too far away from cracking a grand final, and this is evident because they're only trailing by 6 to Illawarra, which have dominated the AAMI Country Championships in the last 10 years pretty much, along with Newcastle, and to be down by only 6 here, Mike, after 20 minutes is a fantastic effort.
Look, it certainly is, and Jamie Forbes, with the team at his disposal, the likes of Corrigan, Nelson, LeBrock, Fitzpatrick, McInnes, I mean, they're a very strong side. The only probably notable omission is Mark O'Mealy, who's, I think, hung up the boots after a long career. Alan Munro from Erina, I think he was with the Tigers last year as well. Troy Adams, a very, very experienced Centurions outfit here as they put the ball through their hands this time. It comes to Aidan Wright, who's pulled down just short of halfway. But the Central Coast have a vastly experienced side, and it's no surprise to anybody that they've really settled into this game, found the tempo of the match after nearly 20 minutes, and they're only 6 points down, and they will know that they're not out of this game by a long shot.
It's great to see as well the New South Wales Cup now going up onto the Central Coast as well, with the Wyong Roos, who have an affiliation with the Sydney Roosters, playing out of Murray Breen Oval every fortnight. And those matches are now being live streamed via Radio Hub, and Albie and the boys, who are doing a fantastic job up on the Leagues Club Hill doing that. And
I have to give a mention. A couple of my colleagues are over at Campbelltown Stadium this afternoon on Radio Hub, calling, I think it's the West Tigers and Manly. So if you want to pick that game up on Radio Hub as well. Commentary,
and that's the good thing about competitions these days. You've got a lot of community radio stations which are taking the telecasts of the New South Wales Cup. Of course, Hawkesbury Radio.
Yeah, well, we were involved with the station at Liverpool up until this year, calling New South Wales Cup across that frequency. And I know these stations around Sydney, for those who aren't familiar with the Sydney area, there's several stations around the Sydney metropolitan area, up on the north side of Sydney, up towards Asquith. There's a broadcast team out of the Hills area. You mentioned Hawkesbury. The boys there have been going for I don't know how many years. Seems like forever.
Well, they first started calling NRL on Hawkesbury Radio
That's right.
back in 1996.
Yes.
And that's the only radio station outside of Metro Radio
Whoever called it.
that have ever called NRL. So that's a magnificent achievement from those guys.
Absolutely.
And, they've called NRL Grand Finals. They've called Tri-Nations. And
They did the National Championship final last year.
yeah, that's right.
Between Penrith and the Northern Pride.
Yeah.
They were at the football at Homebush calling that game, and I'm sure the boys. I don't have the draw in front of me, but I'm sure the Hawkesbury boys will be calling Penrith or Windsor this afternoon somewhere across Greater Sydney.
That's why they call themselves the West Sports Leader, 89.9 FM, Hawkesbury
Yes.
Radio. Here they go, Illawarra. Great bust made by Bartiki. He got the ball out the back to Wallace. Ball's gone forward.
Oh.
A little bit scrappy here from Illawarra.
Yeah, they seem to have just taken their eye off it in the last couple of minutes. Central Coast have got their way back into it, and they've just sort of not dropped it fully, but they've just taken their eye off it just fractionally. And against a team like Central Coast, if they can get, as I keep saying, the possession and the territory, this scrum being packed 30 metres out from the Central Coast line, but if they can work to a decent position, Central Coast, they'll be looking to score some points very soon and put some pressure on the Illawarra side, who I think are feeling a little bit of pressure here. And the match-hardened Central Coast side, we talked about the fact they beat Greater Southern a couple of weeks ago in Foster. I don't think that's going to hurt them in the long run, the fact they've had that game together and had regular football, whereas Illawarra, a very disjointed season, even at the domestic level.
Well, what we noticed in the previous game, take nothing away from Canberra, but if you ask me, ended up taking Newcastle about 60 minutes to get into that match.
Yeah, they certainly took their time to warm into that one, but when they did, they certainly came home like the favourite at Randwick this afternoon. But unfortunately, the winning post was just a little too far away from them. As we see a good break here for Mitchell Porter from Illawarra.
Stepping,
Porter.
weaving, look at him go. Porter will score the second try. Under the post he goes, 10 points to 0. 23 gone first half.
That was too easy for Mitchell Porter. We were just saying they took their eye off it for a minute. They have certainly put it back on. You can hear the car horns. Obviously, some locals have driven up Bulli Pass this afternoon to support their boys, and they lead it by 10.
Yeah, Western Suburbs winger Mitchell Porter gets the try with 14 minutes remaining in the first half here. Illawarra Cole Rugby League. And don't forget, tomorrow, the Cashback App Final between Helensburgh and Thurul. This is it on the replay. This is how Mitchell Porter was able to get away from Kincumber's Brad Bennett to go underneath the post, and he was joined there for celebrations by Helensburgh's Stephen McCallum. So here's the kicking opportunity again now from Porter. Just kicking towards the northern end of Kirkham Park here. This is week 3 of the AAMI Country Rugby League Championships. Off to Mudgee we go. There's a few buses over there on the eastern side of the hill there, Mike.
Yes,
Think we might get a lift as we go towards Mudgee next week? Petrol's $1.40 out in this part of the world. I think if we can get a lift, the better.
I think we might be able to find a couple of outlets here that do it under $1.40, but yes, the conversion successful from Mitchell Porter, out by a dozen, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of people at Glen Willow next Saturday for the Tier 2 and Tier 1 Grand Final.
Yeah, Glen Willow, what a facility it is. Brilliant facility for rugby league. It's played host to football, but it's also played plenty of hostings to rugby league. And of course, a few years ago, the Country Rugby League ended up taking the City versus Country match out there, and that ground was absolutely packed.
And I can remember in the days before Glen Willow Complex even existed, the Mudgee Dragons out in Group 10 playing at the old Jubilee Oval. And that was a fun place for visiting Group 10 sides to come and visit on a Sunday afternoon. The locals would be fired up and they would give the visiting sides from Bathurst and Orange and surrounds a hostile reception at Jubilee Oval.
Doesn't matter where you go in the world, let alone Australia, rugby league and the fans in country areas, they just embrace it. Doesn't matter if it's Dubbo.
I could tell you a few stories about hostile crowds, but I don't think they're quite suitable for broadcast. But I've seen more than my share of crowds up and down New South Wales that don't mind giving it to the officials, the opposition, anybody who's not in their club's colours.
LeBrock comes down with it here, Mike. So an opportunity for them as we go inside the last 15 minutes here on the first half on the scoreboard. They're down by 12 points to 0. Jai Newton from Toukley gives it away this time to Brad Bennett from Kincumber. He's on his legs, finding it hard to put him into the ground. He's built short to the ground, isn't he? Back to Fitzpatrick. Away to Nelson. He'll take the line on Nelson. A metre out from the line. Put away there from Jared Boyle. Back it comes to Corrigan. Away to Fitzpatrick. The other Shearer. Another one from Kincumber. Back to Adams. And the Tiger is put down there on his back. Last tackle now for the Central Coast. They spin it out wide. Back to Burrell. Last tackle. Don't know if he knows about it.
Don't think he realised it was the last tackle there, and the turnover for Illawarra 2 metres out. I'm sure Central Coast weren't aware it was the last there. Otherwise, there would have been some sort of kick. But a communication breakdown there from the Centurions. And Illawarra having to work it out of their own end. 13 minutes to half time, and they lead it by a neat dozen.
So coming out of the southern end of the field, that was Batuki. Picked up a try earlier on in the match. Now, again, losing it. Might have been stripped.
It was.
This is Joka Doka Onavalu. Try saying that 3 times. He's from the Helensburgh Tigers.
I'm sure they call him something much easier to pronounce.
Doka?
Yeah.
He'll, what we understand from Joka, well, maybe we could just call him Joka Doka.
I think Joka works nicely.
That's his first name. Speaking of him, he's got the football again now. He's from the Helensburgh Tigers. Running onto it now is Vargas. He's from Dapto. Up towards the 30-metre line of the coast. Plays it back. This is Joel Johnson. He's from Thirroul. Back there now. They nearly knocked Joka Doka out, ball and all, but he was able to nearly come away with the Central Coast fullback in Grant Nilsson. But he was assisted eventually there from the Helensburgh Tigers, number 17, and a change player in Blake Phillips. So now they bash and barge their way through the middle of the field, through the middle of the ruck. 28 minutes gone here on the CRL scoreboard in association with AAMI and Bar TV as we head across to Wine Country next Saturday afternoon for grand final day. Back to Newton. He finds Adams. I didn't understand that Badgerys Creek was already built. Some A380 going over us, as you can hear in the background here. This is Burrell. Or was that the skydiving machine going up?
Skydiving's a little bit further south from here. I think that could be a glider getting a run out of Camden Airport.
Camden Airport.
There is an airfield out the back here.
Maybe we should have brought the Bar TV aeroplane and landed on the airstrip. We'll do that for Mudgee, that's for sure. Flights between Sydney and Mudgee started again a few weeks ago. Here's the kick in towards the in-goal area. Tura at the back for Illawarra. Takes the tackle 2 metres out from his own in-goal area. Our referee here this afternoon, of course, is Matt Edwards. He's officiating in this one. It'll be an interesting scenario who they'll decide to take on the refereeing number 1 spot next week in Mudgee.
Yes, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. I know there's a few senior referee officials here this afternoon looking at those with the whistles and the flags, and I'm not envious of that job because that would be incredibly difficult to pick one referee over another because they've from what I've seen, they've all been extremely good this afternoon, and all deserve a lot of credit for their work in officiating these games. We haven't had any real trouble. Here's a chance for Illawarra.
Porter got it back to Nathan Smith, and he'll sprint away and score. The third try of the match for Illawarra. Well, the bounce of the rugby league football, how many times do you say it? It can prove costly if you don't take the ball on the full. And Illawarra, they were there. And as you're about to see on the Bar TV replay, this ground is rock solid. Just take a look at the height that this football went above Grant Nelson at the back for the Central Coast. Just take a look at this.
The
Just
wicked
bounced up.
bounce. Porter ran onto it, and Smith, like a drover's dog, backing up on the inside, and easiest try he'll score in a long time to make it 16-0 in favour of the Scarlet and Whites.
Nathan Smith from Corrimal gets the try just before the break. 12-point margin, 7 minutes to go.
He's now 16 with that third try of the afternoon.
So the kick is now 20 metres in from the western touchline. The sun pretty much sideways as he moves in and lines up the Steedon football. 12 metres out from the Central Coast goal line, kicking towards the northern end here of the field. This is Mitchell Porter from Wests, taking his time as the glider still hovels over the top. Maybe we're being attacked from the skies above, maybe not so. Here's Porter from the kick from 10 to the left of the post. He nails it. So Illawarra, a brilliant start, a brilliant opening, first 40 minutes for them. They lead by 18 points to 0 over Jamie Forbes' Central Coast side. And of course, the winner goes through to the Mudgee Grand Final to take on Canberra, who overcame the Newcastle Rebels in our previous match by just 1 point. That field goal was the important factor in this match.
Oh,
as
he's
the
a
Illawarra
chance for Central Coast.
couldn't quite get it back, could they, the Central Coast?
He tried to trap it on his boot, but it almost went into touch. Didn't quite trap it cleanly, and they were lucky to get away with that one, Illawarra. They'll work it out of their own end now. There's a good run from Vargas.
Yeah, from Dapto.
He's lost it, but it's
Stripped.
a penalty for a strip.
40 metres out from their own line, Illawarra.
They haven't done anything to help their cause this afternoon, Central Coast. They certainly haven't done themselves any favours in running, and they are starting from well behind. We said early on, only 6 points behind. They believe they were a chance of getting back into it. 18-0 and Illawarra on the charge. You would think that it's an uphill task now for the Centurions.
Yeah, down to the Centurions, 40-metre line they come. Away to Phillips. Bennett from Kincumber tried to put him down, but he offloaded the pass to Docker Onavalu from the Tigers from Helensburgh. Don't forget the Cashback app final tomorrow between the Tigers and Thurul as well. 12 metres away from the Central Coast line. 18 points to 0. Back from Boyle. Giving it away this time to Wallace. Still going. Of course, Wallace is in to replace Daniel Holdsworth, has got an injury. Now to Batiki. A metre away from crossing the Central Coast line here. Back through the middle they come. Wallace kicking. The ball will go into the in-goal area. And they'll see it go over the dead ball line here. Perry LeBrock from the entrance. So back out to the 20. 4 minutes go in the first half. Illawarra leading by 18 points to 0.
And Central Coast with a 7-tackle set here. That is a big boost for them.
Oh.
The first one gets put on his backside very quickly, and a big hit there. Brad Bennett given a good close-up of the Kirkham Park turf. But Central Coast have got a mountain of work ahead of them in the next 45 minutes if they're to get back into this game. And on what we've seen so far in the first 35 minutes, you wouldn't see how Central Coast can get back into it. But as we saw with that last try, the football can do all sorts of funny things when it's bouncing around. And as long as there's time on the clock, the Centurions will believe they have a chance.
McInnes, away to Fitzpatrick. Now they've got a bit of space. This is Corrigan.
Nice run.
Yeah, wrapped up nicely as well from Jared Boyle from the Helensburgh Tigers. Off the boot of Fitzpatrick.
Aim for the
Ball
upright.
might hit the post. They've got to play out at Illawarra. They've got to get back into the field of play. And they do so easily. Turoa from Helensburgh is
And
with
we've
it.
got a whistle. Can't quite see what that's for. We've got a penalty for offside inside the 10 metres against Central Coast. And that pretty well sums up what their half's been like. They finally get into position. It was a good kick from Central Coast. Bounced off the upright and fell the way of Illawarra. They got out, but then the Centurions penalised for being inside the 10.
So Johnson finding his big bopper, backing on the inside, and you can't escape the mountainous man over there in Docker Onavalu, can you? Back through the middle of the field. This is the halfway line where Illawarra are finally put away. 2 metres out from the halfway line. 17 is with it. This is Phillips.
Forward pass. Here's a chance for Central Coast if they want to have a hope before half-time of anything. They really need to capitalise on this opportunity on halfway now. Just under 4 minutes remaining in the first half. If they can get some points on the board before the break, that'll at least give them some sort of confidence that they're an outside chance of getting back into the game. But they're a long way behind at the moment as we see a short ball there. I thought it might have been a bit marginal for Corrigan, but the referee said it was all right.
This is King Cumber's Jake Shearer. Down to the 30-metre line of Illawarra. Now to Fitzpatrick. Away to Chatfield. Another one that comes out of the entrance Tigers. Now to Newton. He finds Fitzpatrick. They're barging their way close to the goal line, aren't they? But Illawarra so far defending their own goal line. Newton. Back to McInnes. Now to Burrell. Put down there from Batiki. Here's a kick. They've lost that football, Illawarra.
It's been forced in goal. I thought Central Coast might have got onto it, but Illawarra's come away with it, and they will have the line drop out now under 3 minutes to half-time. Probably the first repeat set Illawarra's given away all afternoon. The Centurions a rare opportunity to camp themselves inside the Illawarra half and hopefully the quarter. And if they can score some points before the break, it will certainly give them a lot of confidence going into the break.
Well, there must have been a fingernail on that. Must have been. Or a toenail.
Not
or a
much
spike.
more. A couple of studs and not much more.
Goes down to the 40-metre line, and then on the bring back here, the Central Coast through their entrance Tigers is Troy Adams. 5 metres in from that western touch line.
And
Here's a
he's
knock
lost
on.
it on the first tackle. That just about sums it up, really. They really have had a disappointing first half, Central Coast, and they finally get some decent possession, a bit of repeat possession, and they drop it on the first tackle, which is just fundamental error, 101. You can't go doing that.
You're not happy, Mike Sheen?
Well, it's just one of...
Are you having a whinge?
No, I'm not, but I think that's what they call a coach killer.
A coach killer. Jamie Forbes. Well, he hasn't got much hair to pull out.
There'd be even less right now.
Whatever
I'd suggest.
stubble's on that head, it's gone. Razor blade off.
I was going to say the worst part is he didn't need a razor blade.
Oh, we'll all get there some stage. Some just quicker than others. Back then out of the left-hand side. This is Phillips towards the 40-metre line. So Illawarra here on semi-final day. 1.5 minutes out from half-time. They'll get a penalty from right in front of the Central Coast goal line here. 1 minute to go. You can hear the calls from the sideline here saying, fellas, you've only got 1 minute. Maybe take the tap and get on with it, and that's what they do. This is Docker Onavalu. Out the back to Johnson. He sees the gap. The gap closed there from Brad Bennett. He'll play the football now. Options left, options right. Which way will it come? Back it comes the big Docker. He charges into the defensive line. 4 metres out. +6 equals 10. Back then out of Brebner. He sees the line. Brebner will score.
Nicely done, Brebner. That was too easy, and Illawarra just cruised upfield on the back of that penalty. That just gifted them territory, and they don't waste the opportunities like Central Coast have. 22-0 on the stroke of half-time. They are looking very, very good.
Oh, let's take a look at the replay coming up, thanks to the CRL replay provided by Bar TV Sports here at Kirkham Park here in Camden. Just take a look at this. Wherever you're watching this telecast online or on your big smart TV, they weren't going to get him. And Bremner, the Helensburgh Tigers fullback, he scores another one. And Illawarra keep the clock ticking on, but more importantly, they keep the scoreboard ticking over to a 22 points to nil margin. And the siren goes in the background as well. So Mitchell Porter from Wests. Of course, Illawarra with the AAMI jersey on the back as well, in full display as he knocks this one over the black dot towards the new subdivision here in Kirkham. If you want a house, come and get one. There are about 500,000+ here in Kirkham. Only 20 minutes up the road from Campbelltown. So what we might do, we might take a break here. It's half time. Illawarra go to the front by 24 points to nil. It's all in front of the Central Coast when we come back for the second half.
Neil, you're not that high.
Pretty high.
No, it's not, Neil.
It is.
The cat did it.
That's true.
Mate, stay calm. We do this all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
You'll be fine.
Take your feet back!
Sometimes only a real person will understand.
Hi, I've been in a bit of an accident.
Do you need any emergency services?
No, I think we've got that covered.
Luckily, you can speak to someone at AAMI 24/7.
When I played professional footy, it was all about the training and what I ate. Champions don't run on junk food. So if you want to get the most out of your game and your life, you've got to put the right stuff in. Don't undo all your hard work with what you eat and drink. And after a game, think fruit and water. When the whistle blows, make sure you finish with the right stuff.
Authorised by the New South Wales Government, Sydney.
Real guys, real sport, Bar TV.
pretty high.
No, it's not, Neil.
It is.
The cat did it.
That's true.
Mate, stay calm. We do this all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
You'll be fine.
Take your feet back!
Sometimes only a real person will understand.
Hello, Amy.
Hi. I've been in a bit of an accident.
Do you need any emergency services?
No, I think we've got that covered.
Luckily, you can speak to someone at AAMI 24/7.
When I played professional footy, it was all about the training and what I ate. Champions don't run on junk food. So if you want to get the most out of your game and your life, you've got to put the right stuff in. Don't undo all your hard work with what you eat and drink. And after a game, think fruit and water. When the whistle blows, make sure you finish with the right stuff.
Authorised by the New South Wales Government, Sydney.
Back here for the second half. 40 down, 40 to go. Can Illawarra go on with it? They're showing all the signs that they can. Jamie Forbes just giving his last minute instructions now to the Central Coast Centurions. What do they need to do to get back into it?
Well, they need to score, and they need to score early, and they need to score often. I think it's just that simple for them. They need to find some points and do it quickly. Illawarra, their coach would have said more of the same. For their side this afternoon, Gary Hard would have just said more of the same. Thanks, boys. We're away for the second half. But he would have said more of the same. Thanks, boys. A great first half. Just keep it rolling on. And he would be delighted with what he's seen. But Jamie Forbes would want to, I think, completing in the Illawarra quarter when they get inside the 20 would be a massive focus for them if they can get into the quarter and put something together. That's what they need. When they've got the ball, they've looked quite good, made some good runs, but finishing it off in the attacking quarter, they really need to take their chances. We saw that with Illawarra late in the first half. They took that opportunity and they scored from it. Central Coast have to do the same.
This is your mate,
Yes.
Doka Onavalu. He's with the ball for his first touch of the second half. Now it comes away to Johnson. They're going to dribble it along the carpet off the boot of Jared Boyle. Goes down to Grant Nelson. Got the setting sun in his face as he plays it back with his right boot. Away now to Heath. Comes in off the wing. Up from Tukley. And it's coming off their own goal line. This is Sean Corrigan from the Entrance Tigers. Well, if you go through the whole squad from the Central Coast, the dominant local side up there has to come from the Entrance Tigers. Over 5 to 6 players are coming from that squad into the Central Coast representative squad here this afternoon. This is Burrell. McInnes being told to get rid of it. Bremner.
See, that's just what I was saying. That they get to the last tackle. They weren't inside the Illawarra quarter. The kick was very poor. The chase wasn't very strong. They just didn't complete that set well. Illawarra making 10, 12, 14 metres at will as they work it out of their own end. Central Coast got to a nice position, but the play on the last tackle was just not up to the standard that was probably expected of them.
Now this is Blake Phillips giving it away to Doka Onavalu. Doesn't want to go into the ground, does he? 3 men in the tackle there from the Central Coast.
He's a big boy, our Joka Doka.
Newella. A penalty going against Illawarra here.
For obstruction.
Yeah, 30 metres out the Central Coast. So look out here. Mike, you might be having a bump on your melon in a moment.
No, we're safe.
By a whisker. We dodged that one, didn't we? We're right down on the sideline here this afternoon to broadcast these matches.
Let's see if the Centurions can mount something here. They really need to find a bit of spark and create some opportunities in this attacking area for the Centurions. They need to really create a player an opportunity.
Away to Nelson. Put down there from Bremner. Away this time to Chatfield. Picked up and driven. Back slammed.
Nice close-up of the turf there for Chatty.
Night tie grass as well. Back to Fitzpatrick. He finds McInnes. Out it comes to Nilsson. He's decided to go back on the infield. He offloaded the pass out the back. It comes from Fitzpatrick. On it comes now to Bennett. He's going to kick for his winger. What a try by the Central Coast. What a kick. What a put down. Well, we've seen a lot of tries today, but I don't think we've seen a better one than that.
That was much, much better from the Central Coast Centurions. That's what we've been looking for all afternoon. They finally put something together. The nice kick, I think that came from Bennett, and the winger, I think that was LeBrock who crossed in the corner. That was a brilliant piece of play. We'll probably get the replay up in a moment and have a look at that, but that was exactly what they were after. Here's the replay now. Comes through the hands, out to McInnes, and then Nelson coming back towards the middle of the post. It comes across now through Fitzpatrick for Bennett. A great kick, and the catch was a beauty. I think that was Perry LeBrock in the corner, who finally opens the account for the Centurions.
Perry LeBrock. Deserved what you just witnessed there. Flying through to score an absolute stunner for the Central Coast. Picked up a try on the 23rd of May as well when Central Coast defeated the Great Southern Stars in Foster. He knows how to find his way to the try line, and those people behind him know how to find their way to the fence. The girls are interested. She's texting her loved one.
She's more
saying,
interested in the...
come and pick me up.
Come and get me off. Oh.
Here's the kick now from the touchline. This is Harmon bringing it back around.
No.
Not enough. So no change on the CRL scoreboard. Illawarra in the front by 24 points to 4. With 35 minutes remaining in the match. Winner will go through to meet Canberra next Saturday afternoon in Mudgee. And what a day that's going to be. Another marathon telecast. I think the play gets underway around 9:30.
Oh.
Out at Mudgee and working our way through to the Tier 1 Grand Final at 3 o'clock with the presentations in between all of those fixtures.
Yes. I was just going to mention that restart. I think Central Coast made an error there. If they'd had the presence of mind to put their foot on the dead ball line, they would have advanced 50 metres without so much as a finger laid on them. And I think they made a minor error there by not being aware of where the dead ball line was in relation to that kick. It was probably only a metre or two.
So the compass wasn't quite showing where they wanted to be.
Just not quite facing the right direction, I'm afraid, on that occasion. But here's a chance for them out on the right. No, it's gone forward.
So we'll come back here to the 20-metre line. Well, they had the right idea. They know that they've got to get it out to the edge. They've had success. They were trying to pick up their Perry LeBrock once more, but all this has done is give it back to Illawarra. And our referee, Matt Edwards, just waiting for the rugby league football to come back into the middle of the screen. We've lost a few balls here today, but we need one right now. Footballs, rugby league balls. We've picked one up and we're back underway here. This is Wallace giving away to Smith. 21 metres away from the goal line. Illawarra on the attack. Ball it all in hand. Back to Vargas. Picks the Steeden ball up and puts it under his wing and takes it for a ride with him. Back to Johnson. Away to Porter. He finds
Surely
Boyle.
That's obstruction. Surely, sir, that had to be a penalty.
Edwards disagreeing with you, Mike.
Wow.
Docker on a Valu. Look at him go. He holds onto the Steeden ball. 2 metres away from the Central Coast line. Back it comes to Johnson. Is there another try about to happen here? They come back on the infield. Illawarra through Nathan Smith. He's popped it to Tim
It was
Burrell.
a beautiful ball.
The only thing was he plays for the opposition.
That's right, and it's gone forward.
Wow.
Oh, dear me. It was a brilliant pass right into the breadbasket, except he was wearing sky blue, not red and white. But a brilliant play there. But I think the ref missed one there for an obstruction in that set of 6. I thought it was an easy call that he didn't make there, but he decided to rule that way as Central Coast now work it out of their own end. Can they find a way through this Illawarra wall once again?
A lot of talk out there, as you'd expect, from the Tier 1 semi-finalists. Illawarra in defence as the Central Coast come outside their own 20-metre line. Back to Newton. Good hands there from Fitzpatrick, finding Chatfield. Taking himself into the ground, assisted there by Jared Boyle. They continue to work the edge side, the eastern side of the park. Boyle in there again from the Helensburgh Tigers. Now to Newton. Off the boot of Fitzpatrick. Banging it in between the fullback and the winger out there. And of course, this is Mitchell Porter. Bends down, picks it up, runs back into the welcoming reception party. Of course, led there by Jake Shearer, who plays for King Cumber.
I thought Porter might have been just a touch lucky there. I got a hand on it, but it obviously went back. But very lucky it didn't bounce the other way and give Central Coast great field position with a ball 10 metres out from the Illawarra line. But the Illawarra side now working it out of their own end.
Yeah, this is Daptos Vargas playing it back there into the representative squad for Illawarra. Off the bench, gets his chance to impress selectors. Here's the kick outside their own 40. They'll kick it towards the sideline. Ball's going to go into the in-goal area. It might have just enough weight. It goes on the white chalk here.
And that was all it needed.
Yeah.
I only had to touch that chalk and they got away with that one, Central Coast, up to the 20 for a 7-tackle set. But that only just hit the touching goal line, and Central Coast with an easy 20 metres there.
Yeah, at this point of the day, I'd just like to thank everybody at the Country Rugby League, the players especially, and the administrators for putting on a fantastic carnival atmosphere here at Kirkham Park here in Camden. The first match got underway at 10 a.m. between the Tigers and North Coast. Tigers getting away with that one by 10 points. This is Woodley down to the opposition's 40. The ball spills out. Referee will put down a scrum here. Mike?
Yes, he's got that spot on. It was a one-on-one strip and just a little knock-on from Illawarra after that. So it'll be a Central Coast scrum feed 40 metres out from the Illawarra line. Good chance here for the Centurions if they can put some more points on. Still time on the clock, best part of 30 minutes remaining. If they can put some points on here, get it back to a 14-point margin, they will believe that they are still, albeit a slight one, they will still believe they are a chance.
Well, this is Newton. He's taking his chance, but he's run out of luck. 12 metres away from the Illawarra line. Back to Bennett.
He's been good for the Centurions this afternoon. He's made some good ground up the middle.
Woodley, away to Fitzpatrick. Cutting out their fullback to go out wide to a juggling LeBrock. Well, he thought for a moment if he could catch that, he could have got a spot in the Moscow Circus. But unfortunately, he just put it down 10 metres out from his own line.
Yeah, needs a little bit more sticky on the hands to hold on to that one, not this time. But it was a nice piece of play there from Central Coast, building nicely, but as has been the case this afternoon, just not able to finish the play as they'd like. And Illawarra, with that 20-point margin, will certainly be able to focus at least part of their attention to next week, or they will start to look towards next week and the final of the Tier 1 Country Championship, when you'd think they will meet Canberra at Glenwillow Stadium in Mudgee.
Well, we've already got the Tier 2 Grand Final already known to us. The Greater Northern Tigers will be taking on Riverina. That will be our match before the Tier 1 Grand Final. So expect that one to get underway about 1:15.
Is it an upset for Greater Northern to be in the final this year?
Well, if you ask their coach, he probably says to you, I worked hard with my boys, but yeah, I think they've done exceptionally well to get to where they are. And of course, Riverina too. They've done it hard over the last, they haven't been to an AAMI Championships final in Tier 1 for probably 20 odd years. I think it was the late 80s since they featured in the top Tier 1. But a credit to everyone. As I said in the telecast 4 hours ago, Dave Skinner and that, the Bidgie region is massive down there, isn't it? And they're featuring in the under-16s, they're featuring in the under-18s.
And now in the seniors
And now they're in the seniors as well. So everybody down at the Riverina, led, of course, by the CRL manager, Dave Skinner. And I think we spoke about last time we were on air in that match, Darryl Kelly has put a lot of his own personal money into the development of the Riverina. And they've got the boys chiming towards
as we said earlier, the Riverina's been a strong rugby league heartland for many, many years, going back to the 50s and 60s. No surprise to see them in the final. They will be the nominal favourites, I would think. Greater Northern would be the sentimental favourites for just about everybody, but I think Riverina would certainly be the nominal favourites in the Tier 2 final. And they were quite impressive in their win over Greater Southern this morning. They certainly did a good job over the nominal home side in Greater Southern, as play breaks down once again for Central Coast in that attacking quarter. But I think Greater Northern, they've certainly, I wouldn't say overachieved, but they've certainly achieved beyond probably what was expected of them by a lot of football experts across country New South Wales. So they wouldn't have had Greater Northern in the finals of any division.
But just taking it one step further, of course, the Bidgie region is on the outskirts, I guess, of Canberra as well. So when you think of 3 grades from Riverina going through to grand final day, now Canberra, now if things go to plan, Illawarra, what a phenomenal effort for everybody down here on the south coast, the Southern Highlands.
The southern region has had an exceptional campaign this year, and the northern half, Newcastle desperately unlucky not to go through in the Tier 1 semi-final earlier by 1 point, and came home with a tremendous run late in the game, just a little too late. As Illawarra.
Now, I'm not 100% sure on this stat, but I think you'll find next year Newcastle, because they've been knocked out, will they have another game in them before they get to this match? We might just get a bit of confirmation on that. I know that if you made it through to the grand final, you end up playing, in the semi-final. But if you're knocked out, you might have to have another crack. Here's the kick in the in-goal area. Central Coast now trying to get back into their field of play, but they can't.
There was a knock-on from Illawarra, so that'll be a turnover 10 metres out for Central Coast.
And everybody's down here from Newcastle today as well. We've got Keith Onslow, who's the CRL regional manager for the Central Coast and the Newcastle region. He's here. Dave Skinner from the Bidgie region. He's here today as well. And we've got everybody that's come across. Chris Bannerman, the CEO of the Illawarra Rugby League. He's running the drinks here today as well.
I just spotted, I think it might have been Taroa coming off in front of us for Illawarra with an injury there. So it might be a concern there for Illawarra heading into next week's final.
So this is Sean Corrigan playing it back to Woodley. Down the touchline he goes.
That's a good run.
Plays the ball back quickly to Central Coast here. Look for the kick. Where's it going to go? Batiki takes it well. Palmed off one. Batiki can't get rid of the centre three-quarter in Aidan Wright from Terrigal. They finish him off 20 metres out from his own goal line. So 20-point margin here. We've only got 22 minutes to go in the match. As we see Turoa taking it forward for the Illawarra side.
Could have been our boy
30.
Could have been our boy Jokadoka who came off. If Turoa is still out there, it could have been our boy Jokadoka who's come off.
Yeah, he's been quiet. We haven't seen him for a few minutes,
yeah,
has he?
I did notice him just in front of us, heading to the dugout. So he might have a bit of a knock there. See if we can get one of the Illawarra staff to let us know about that.
This is Thompson. Back to Wallace. Here's the kick high to the air. Central Coast diffusing the situation thanks to Terrigal's Josh Harmon. Cleaned up their ball at all from Chris Lewis from Helensburgh. So 22 minutes to go in the match. Illawarra, 24 points to 4. Are they about to book their berth against, I guess, their rivals in this part of the world? Their counterparts anyway. Maybe not so much their friends. Never friendly rivalry on grand final day.
No.
That's for sure. Speaking of rivalry, what a clash we've got coming up on Wednesday night at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. New South Wales versus Queensland, live on the Channel 9 network and through WIN and NBN and through Imparja up through the territory. And of course the under-18s will be the prelude to that match between Queensland and New South Wales, and that game will be live streamed on NRL.com, the New South Wales Rugby League website, and the Queensland website. Here they go, Illawarra. Thompson, he draws. They're here we go, down to the 10. He's still going. Johnson, ankle tapped. He's tripped over his own boots, the hooker.
It's on to the right.
This is where they come here. 13 is with it. This is Thompson out the back. They're keeping it alive. That creates a gap out wide. And Bartiki, he crashes over for Illawarra. Well, he wanted to try, and he's got it. The Afro man from Illawarra. You can't miss him. And he has now converted well, he hasn't converted the try, but he's converted his own 4-pointer. He's got over the line. And just check out the hairstyle from our man on screen right now.
He's certainly been good this afternoon, Penny Batiki, as we look at the Bar TV replay. And it came from that run from the hooker in Joel Johnson. He made a great run upfield, ankle tapped at the key moment. Came through the hands, off Jared Thompson, out the back, and through to Batiki. And Batiki had to beat a couple, did it nicely in the end, and crashed over out wide on the right to all but secure Illawarra's place in the Tier 1 final next weekend of the Country Championships. And I think if the engraver was there to etch their name onto the program, he would certainly be starting to put Illawarra opposite Canberra for the Tier 1 final next week.
And of course, Illawarra claimed the last 2 years' worth of AAMI Country Rugby League titles. So they're going for their hat trick of titles come 4 o'clock next Saturday afternoon. Can they do it? It won't be a walk in the park. Wolford, the Canberra coach, he believes that he has the squad to go all the way this year. We'll find that out in 7 days' time. The kick unsuccessful. So no change on the Bar TV scoreboard thanks to the Country Rugby League and AAMI, the official partner of the CRL in 2015 once more. Of course, their association will keep on going into the future. They've put a lot of money, AAMI along with their other sponsors, the Country Rugby League, into this competition. And it's well noted by fans and officials that without major sponsors such as AAMI and Illawarra Coal and Tui's in Newcastle and other regional CRL sponsors, where would we be in the game of rugby league, let alone the Country Rugby League?
I was only speaking to an official from the Camden club here today, and he was saying that they do a lot of fundraising work themselves to ensure they can keep the club running at a successful level and a high level. So even at the club level, the clubs need to work extremely hard to be able to keep themselves in operation each year, and for Country Rugby League and the districts and the groups to survive, they need to find thousands of dollars every year, and without those sponsors, they just simply wouldn't be able to compete at this level or at the club level, and the sport would suffer. So without those sponsors, and you can see them on the screen there around Kirkham Park, all those sponsors who chip in their hard-earned to support the Rams and all these other clubs up and down the coast and inland on the plains and the tablelands of New South Wales to keep this great game alive.
Woodley goes himself. Back to Deves. A metre out from the goal line. This is Woodley looking for their centre three-quarter in Corrigan. Back to Nielsen. Beat one. Trying to beat the prop in Hancock from Dapto. A metre out from the goal line. Woodley bending down to go himself from dummy half. He kicks for himself, but it's gone straight to Hancock from Dapto on his own goal line. But just getting back to everybody that makes this country rugby league a success. Don't forget the volunteers as well who do the canteens, the gates, a lot of the strappers, the trainers. They don't get a cent.
No.
But they love the game of rugby league and they're doing what they love best on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon or a Friday night in the Illawarra to go along and support their local side and just help out wherever they can. And just a credit to all the volunteers as well in the game of country rugby league for doing what you do. Because without you guys
and girls,
mums and dads, grandpas and grandmothers and great aunties and great aunties, everybody, where will it be?
Well, I mean, even today, the canteen in operation, those on the gate, making sure that...
well, you wouldn't have had your hot dog.
No, I wouldn't. And our programs here today that have been printed and, all the officials that ensure everything happens, all the selectors, everybody involved from the strappers right up to the coach and the players. A massive effort for any team in any town, anywhere, up and down New South Wales to get any team on the park.
And of course the man who keeps it all together is the CEO of the Country Rugby League in Terry Quinn, who's got a front row seat in front of us here at the moment, just watching the last 15 minutes of this match unfold. And he's been at the helm for many a year. I don't know exactly how many years he's been there.
Be
but
getting up towards 10, I would reckon.
At least a decade.
At least a decade. I dealt with him in broadcasting best part of a decade ago down on the far south coast. So he was in charge back then and he's still at the helm now and doing a very good job.
Of course, the Country Rugby League have announced Scully Park in Tamworth will be the host of the 2016 City versus Country fixture next year as well. And what a facility that is.
I've seen some photos online of the new look Scully Park. That looks absolutely phenomenal. And for the northwest of New South Wales, it's great to see those areas like Tamworth and Armidale and Gunnedah, Narrabri getting top-level rugby league. And to have those sort of players coming to the region can only benefit the competition. As I said when I was down on the far south coast, I might get to that in a minute. It looks like Illawarra is going to score. They will.
Jake Fitzpatrick, untouched under the post. Or I should say Jared Boyle, my apologies there. He got the pass back on the inside. And the Helensburgh Tigers. Jared Boyle has finished it off, one might say, for Illawarra for good here. But I know for one thing, Central Coast will not give up. They'll play right to the 80th minute. So the 5'8", Jared Boyle from Helensburgh Tigers, as you said there in commentary, Mike, and we're about to see it right now. Just see this. He just did a little bit of a pirouette as we play it on.
There
and
it is.
there's the gap.
Step and he's through and he's under the posts.
And he was able to beat Tim Burrell from Erina to score only 5/8 knows where half the time, and that's underneath the black dot.
Yep.
Towards the southern end, towards your end of the ground.
Yes, I can see the lights starting to take effect here at Kirkham Park. One of the many upgrades they've had here at Kirkham over the last 2 or 3 seasons. The lighting here now at top level standard, and I'm sure in the not too distant future we'll be seeing much higher level football here in the southwest of Sydney.
Credit to everybody that's turned out here today at Kirkham Park here in Camden to support Week 3 of the Country Rugby League Championships. As you can see, a number of cars up there in the clubhouse. We had big numbers throughout the day. Of course, the faithful still remain here who have come down or come across from Illawarra, come up the highway, the Hume Highway.
Yeah, I'll come across from Bulli, up Bulli Pass, up through the back of the northern end of Wollongong and across. It's only a short drive from Wollongong, only about a 45-minute drive up the road from where we are today. And Central Coast not that far either, only a couple of hours down the expressway. So neither of these teams have had to travel too far today. Newcastle and Canberra probably had 2 or 3 hours each, so a decent journey for them. And as we mentioned, the Canberra boys have, I think, headed off, and Newcastle are certainly on their way back north. And you mentioned the real NRL. I think they get back underway next weekend.
They do. There's a washout game next Sunday, which will be the day after we venture out to Mudgee. South Newcastle Lions are playing the Maitland Pumpkin Pickers, and that game will be live from 3 o'clock at Townsend Oval, looking to dominate their spot. The Maitland Pickers in the Newcastle Rugby League top 5, so a victory would seal them that. Here's the kick into touch, and they find the line here, Mike, 10 metres out from their own goal line, the Central Coast.
Yeah, and I'll mention the Group 6. We're back in action tomorrow afternoon. A full round of matches. Campbelltown City hosting Appin. A rivalry round in Group 6 this weekend. Campbelltown City hosting Appin over at Campbelltown Stadium tomorrow afternoon. Just up the road from here, Camden make the short trip up the road to Narellan to take on the Jets at Crane Oval. The Battle of Burragorang, as I heard it described during the week. Oakdale welcomes the Oaks to Sid Sharp Oval. Down south, it's the Highlands Derby between Mittagong and Mossvale at Mittagong Sports Ground, and I'll be at Thirlmere watching the Roosters under David Green take on the undefeated Picton Magpies with Gary Dowse in charge. Yet again, the Magpies looking very strong for another Group 6 premiership.
And of course, up on the mid-north coast today, we saw the top of the table clash between the Inverell Hawks playing the Moree Boomerangs. That was 1 versus 2. So stay tuned to your local media for score updates as we close in on full time for that one. This is Nelson. He tries to create a little bit of havoc down that eastern touchline. And of course, don't forget the Cashback app tomorrow, the final, the Central Coast. They're going to finish this one with a try, I think. LeBrock, he gets his second of the game. 32-8. A consolation try to the Central Coast. Yeah, don't forget, live tomorrow, we've got the Cashback app final between Helensburgh and Thirroul. And that's going to be at Collies. So if you're in the area, get down and support the Cashback app final. Helensburgh Tigers versus Thirroul. That's tomorrow, the 2015 Cashback app final. And of course, you'll be able to watch that match on Monday night on Bar TV at 5 o'clock. So don't worry about Family Feud that night. You've got the Cashback app. Well, there could between be Helensburgh versus Thirroul.
There could be a Family Feud if you load that up, and the better half wants to stick to free-to-air TV.
Maybe Grant Denny. The Cashback app, he seems like he's everywhere.
He hosts just about everything else.
Grant Den, you're hosting your program on Monday night? No.
No, I don't think so.
We've just been told you are.
I don't think you could afford him.
I don't know about that. Bar TV, the shares are going up.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he could afford to get in.
That's right. Here's the kick now from Harmon. The kick looks okay. Can he bring it back around? No, he can't. So no change to the CRL scoreboard. It's 32 points to 8. Illawarra heading towards Mudgee for the 2015 Grand Final to take on Canberra, who earlier today got up by just a field goal, 21 points to 20. And they've sent Newcastle back up the M7 onto the M1.
Oh.
Wondering what happened. Here's a mistake in goal by Jordan Deves here.
Yeah, that's
from Terrigal.
That's a tough one. That is. He knows he's done the wrong thing. He put his hand up and he's admitted he's done the wrong thing. And Central Coast, it's been a tough afternoon for the Centurions. I'll try and keep Illawarra from scoring another try late in the match. Only 7 minutes remaining, and they'll look to try and keep Illawarra at bay as best they can. A short restart.
Yeah, it just goes down to the 22-metre line. Not the best kicks you'll ever see from the Central Coast, and this is where Turoa will play it back from Helensburgh, giving it across to Hawkins. He finds Lewis. Helensburgh man gets to his feet, of course, possibly backing up tomorrow for Helensburgh in the Cashback App final between the Tigers and the Butchers. Now this is Thompson. He's got the line in front of him. Can he get it down?
Held up.
Thanks very much. He was held up, Chock. Chock, the chairman of the CRL. Actually, Chock, come over here for a minute. I want to talk to you. We've got Chock Anderson from the CRL about to grace our commentary box.
A beautiful pass.
Give me your best. No try, Chock.
No try.
Chock, of course, on the board of directors at the CRL, mate. Today, an outstanding effort by everybody. We've seen outstanding rugby league, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been an all-org as well for next weekend at Mudgee. So all the best teams are playing, and so it should be great from 16s, 18s, and Tier 2 and Tier 1. So all the best teams will be there, and I would imagine the best team will win.
Man, I was just saying to Mike, the Riverina featuring dominantly in that grand final, the Bidgie region. Of course, they've got the 16s, the 18s, and then they've got the Tier 2. And, of course, you can throw Canberra in on that.
Correct, yes.
How good will it be?
Yeah, that's good for the Riverina area. And mate, the 16s and 18s last week, they were fantastic. So they're going to be hard to beat. I think they're playing Northern Tigers in the 16s and Newcastle in the 18s.
And, of course, those games will be live streamed from Budgie, as we thank Chock coming into the box for the last 5 minutes. We'll just stick with the play.
Forward pass, yeah.
Forward pass, wasn't it, Chock? The touchy puts his flags up. And we were just talking to the referees as well, and they're happy with depth in this part of the world as well, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, been very good. I think some of these younger referees today have been outstanding, especially Matty Edwards out here today. I think he just is that little bit better from what I've seen here, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't referee the final next week. I do offer him a fair bit of talk and things like that, but they don't seem to take too much notice of me.
You serious?
Yeah.
They don't take any notice of you, and you're on the board.
I'm on the board. I'm only the chairman of the board, but they still don't take any notice of me.
What's doing there, Chock?
Oh, well, I tried to talk to them and say, this bloke should be refereeing and that bloke there. And anyway, I told them today that we didn't want any draws because we don't want to go overtime. So make sure you give a penalty in front if that happens.
Time's money.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we look forward to heading off to Mudgee. What a facility that is, Glen Willow. It's probably the best out there. But I've got to say, I saw you up at were you up at Tamworth throughout the week? Up at Scully Park? You got a lookalike up there.
Yeah,
because I know Terry Quinn was up there.
Terry Quinn, yeah. No, he wouldn't let me go.
He wouldn't,
no.
Budget?
No, budget, yeah.
It's a long trip up from Newcastle.
Trip. Yeah, no, I had something else on. But no, it was great. It's going to be a great, it's another great country area.
It is. Here's the kick going downfield here. Can they get it back, Central Coast? They're trying their best to do that, and they do come away with it here, Chock. We might hear a penalty here.
Yeah, penalty, turned him over. Here they go, tap.
This is Newton. He's close to the try line, down by 32 points to 8. We've only got minutes to go on the CRL scoreboard here with Peter Jolly and Chock Anderson. This is Grant Nelson. He's from the Entrance Tigers. And a credit to everybody up there on the Central Coast as well. The strappers, the trainers and the volunteers. And that's the thing I was just saying throughout the day, Chock. The volunteers in Country Rugby League is outstanding.
It's great. If we didn't have volunteers, well, we wouldn't be going. So there's a knock on first tackle. But look, if we didn't have the volunteers, and we just wouldn't be over the go because that's the biggest part of Country Rugby League.
Mate, you got your room booked for Mudgee?
Well, we're lucky, yeah, we have, but I think it's a sellout there's no more rooms, and we've had to put teams at Gulgong and Bathurst and Dubbo because there's a huge, it's a huge place to go to of a weekend, Mudgee, and I think a lot will be at the football.
They will indeed.
We
and
will
they'll
then
see.
pick out there. We'll pick the 16s and 18s junior teams to go to New Zealand in a week's time, and then the Tier 1 and the Country First and Country Seconds. Country First are going to Fiji at the end of the year, and Country Seconds are going to Darwin. So there's a lot to play for. Exactly the same as these blokes here, because our selectors are very good selectors, and they've seen all the games, and hopefully we will come up with the best players and the best teams.
And of course, major sponsors. We can't go without saying we really appreciate the likes of AAMI Insurance.
Fantastic.
Been a big part of Country Rugby League for many a year.
Yeah, AAMI, SLE, VB. Look, again, that's another thing, volunteers and sponsors.
And I'm just looking out the right-hand corner of my eye. You've got the Media and Communications Tarago. How good is that?
Oh, yes, we have to get that around to be seen, yep. It carries all our gear. We'll have our goalpost pads, and they'll be down shortly, and all put in the truck ready for next week.
And of course, Adam Kidd is the new media manager for the Country Rugby League. Of course, Terry Quinn in front of us, the CEO. Terry's been CEO for many years.
Quite a number of years.
Quite a number of years, doing a good job.
He does a great job, and Bert's up there with the New South Wales Origin side. He's our operations manager, and so, we're surrounded by a lot of good people.
And, of course, live streaming just takes it to that extra level.
That's right, and we thank Bar TV and you, Peter, for the work that you're doing behind the scenes and on the scenes, and there goes the final whistle.
And there is the final tackle as well, Chock. So it's all over here at Kirkham Park here in Camden. Illawarra go through to meet Canberra next Saturday afternoon in Mudgee. They've overcome the Central Coast here this afternoon by 32 points to 8. Well, Chock, we look forward to probably having a chat with you next Saturday when we venture out to Wine District in Mudgee.
Yes, you're a great place, a great area, and we hope to see you all there. And Pete, I might see you walking around the racecourse during the week.
Maybe. Have you
Or
got
at
a
the
tip
beach.
for me?
Go to the beach. Get up to Bar Beach and we'll have a swim.
All right, mate. No worries. We'll try out the new baths.
Yes, there's plenty of rocks there at the present time.
Good on you. Thanks for that, Chock. Chock Anderson there, the director of the Central, the Country Rugby League, joining us here in the outside broadcast van where we've been for 8 hours giving you this telecast here this afternoon, and we wouldn't be in any other place. It's been an outstanding day for rugby league here on wherever you might be tuning in, whether it's on the Bar TV network, throughout the Country Rugby League website as well. So let's just go through the final scores as the day has unfolded. 32 points to 8. The Central Coast have gone down to the Central Coast side. So Illawarra 32, Central Coast 8. Canberra got up over Newcastle by 21 points to 20. And earlier on in the day, the Northern Tigers, too good for the North Coast side by 30 points to 20. While in our Tier 2 second match of the day, the Stars went down to Riverina. Riverina, too good for the Stars by 34 points to 20. So it's been a long day, but we wouldn't have missed this in the world. We have our grand final set for Mudgee next Saturday afternoon. It will be Canberra taking on Illawarra, and in the Tier 2 grand final, the Tigers to take on Riverina. And of course, the under-16s and the under-18s will also get us underway earlier in the day, about 9:30, I believe. So it's been a phenomenal effort, a phenomenal telecast here from Camden. We'd like to thank the Country Rugby League. We'd like to thank the guys that are, giving us the loo out the back, the Camden Hire people, Coates Hire for the cherry picker. The AAMI referees have done a fantastic job as well. Like this man, our media officer from the Group 6 in Mike Sheen. Outstanding effort, mate. We appreciate that, and come back any day.
Happy to be involved, and we might discuss something over at Lemon Squash a bit later on about some future plans. But great to be involved, and well done to everybody, and good luck to all teams for next week.
Indeed. Well, I think that wraps us up here after a phenomenal 8 hours of telecasting, 4 games of rugby league. We hope you've enjoyed it, everyone. We've had fun giving you the pictures. We'll leave you now with these images. Illawarra going into the grand final to take on Canberra at Glen Willow Park next Saturday afternoon, and you'll be able to watch that live like you have all day today. So on behalf of everybody here, I've been Peter Jolly. A fantastic effort. Until next week, it's bye for now.
Neil, you're not that high.
Pretty high.
No, it's not, Neil.
It is.
The cat did it.
That's true.
Mate, stay calm. We do this all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
You'll be fine.
Get your feet back!
Sometimes only a real person will understand.
Hello, Amy.
Hi. I've been in a bit of an accident.
Do you need any emergency services?
No, I think we've got that covered.
Luckily, you can speak to someone at AAMI 24/7.
When I played professional footy, it was all about the training and what I ate. Champions don't run on junk food. So if you want to get the most out of your game and your life, you've got to put the right stuff in. Don't undo all your hard work with what you eat and drink. And after a game, think fruit and water. When the whistle blows, make sure you finish with the right stuff.
Authorised by the New South Wales Government, Sydney.